The hallway was nearly empty, echoing with the faint squeak of a mop. Mark, the school's janitor, wiped sweat from his forehead and kept working. He was a single dad, raising his daughter Lily on his own after losing his wife 3 years ago. Every extra shift mattered, every dollar meant food on the table. But beneath his tired eyes, Mark carried a kind heart. He noticed people in ways others didn't. That's why when he saw Emily, one of the brightest students in the school, storming down the corridor late in the evening, clutching her backpack tightly, something in him froze. Her eyes weren't just sad. They were empty, the kind of emptiness he had once seen in his wife during her darkest days. "Don't follow me," she snapped when she noticed him looking. Her voice was sharp, but her trembling hands betrayed her strength. She disappeared toward the stairwell. Mark stood still, torn. He could respect her words or he could listen to his gut. He thought of Lily, only a few years younger than Emily. What if one day she was in trouble, and no one cared enough to notice? That thought propelled him forward. Quietly, he followed at a distance. Emily pushed through the stairwell door and headed up toward the roof. Mark's chest tightened. He knew. He hurried his pace, careful not to scare her off. When he reached the top, the heavy door creaked open. The cool night air rushed in, and there she was standing at the edge of the roof, her backpack sliding off her shoulder. Her face glistened with tears. "Emily," Mark said gently, his voice steady despite his pounding heart. "It's late. You shouldn't be up here." "Go away," she cried, her voice cracking. "You don't understand." "Nobody does." Mark wanted to run to her, but he knew any sudden move might push her closer to the edge. So he stayed rooted, speaking with all the patience of a father. "Maybe you're right. Maybe I don't understand everything. But I do understand pain. And I understand what it feels like to want it to stop." Her shoulders trembled. "It doesn't matter. My mom's gone, my dad doesn't care, and I'm failing everything. Everyone thinks I'm strong, but I'm not. I can't do this anymore." Mark swallowed hard, remembering his wife's hospital room, the silence after her last breath. He remembered wanting to give up, too, until Lily's tiny hand gripped his, keeping him tethered. And then he saw it. Emily's backpack had fallen open just slightly, and sticking out was a sketchbook. Bright colors peeked through. He shifted his voice softer, almost whispering. "You know what I noticed about you, Emily? The way you draw. I've seen your work on the artboard downstairs. The colors, the life you put your soul into those drawings. That's not weakness. That's strength." She glanced over her shoulder, startled. "You've seen them?" "Of course," he said with a faint smile. "I clean that hallway every night. And every time, I stop just to look. Because even when you think nobody notices you, someone does." Her lip quivered, her hands loosening at her sides. Mark carefully took a step forward. "You have a gift. And I know life feels unbearable right now, but believe me, it can change. I almost gave up once, too. But if I had, I wouldn't have seen my daughter grow, or her first drawing, or her first laugh after losing her mom. You matter, Emily. You matter more than you know." Tears streamed down her cheeks as her knees buckled. Mark rushed forward, gently guiding her away from the edge. She collapsed into his arms, sobbing. That night, Mark called the school counselor and stayed by Emily's side until she was safe. She admitted she had been planning to end her life, but hearing that someone actually noticed her art, the one thing she thought was invisible, had cracked the wall around her heart. In the weeks that followed, Emily began counseling. Slowly, she rebuilt her strength. Mark checked in on her often, encouraging her as he would his own daughter. Eventually, Emily's drawings started to tell new stories, ones of hope, healing, and second chances. By graduation, Emily stood proudly on stage with her sketchbook tucked under her arm. When she spotted Mark in the crowd, pushing his mop bucket after finishing another shift, she waved with a grateful smile. Mark waved back, his chest swelling with pride. He knew he hadn't saved her with grand speeches or miracles. He had simply noticed what others didn't and believed in her when she couldn't believe in herself. The truth was simple but powerful. Sometimes, the smallest act of compassion, the quietest moment of noticing, can save a life. And Emily would carry that lesson forward, determined to notice others, just as the janitor once noticed her.